Hey everyone, welcome. Today, we're going to open the doors to what is basically a legendary digital workshop. We're taking a guided tour of Adobe Photoshop, and the goal here is to demystify some of its most essential tools so you can start unlocking your own creative power. So let's just jump right in. What is Photoshop, really? I mean, we've all heard the name, right? We know it's this super powerful thing, but what's the actual secret behind its reputation? Why is it the absolute industry standard? Well, let's find out. Okay, so when you first open it up, yeah, it can look like a lot, right? It just seems incredibly complex. But I want you to completely reframe how you see this. Don't think complex, think workshop. Seriously, imagine a master craftsman's workshop, perfectly organized with a specific, powerful tool ready for every single task you could possibly imagine. And right at the heart of that entire workshop is this little narrow panel you see. That's the toolbox. This is where pretty much all the action begins. It's got the core set of tools we're going to explore today. Think of them as our digital hammers, chisels, and paintbrushes. All right, our first stop on this tour is the selection department. This is super important because before you can edit or move or change anything in an image, you've got to tell Photoshop exactly what part you want to mess with. And these tools, they're basically your digital scissors and stencils. So in this section, we're going to take a quick look at four fundamental tools: the marquee, the lasso, the magic wand, and of course, the super important crop tool. First up, we've got the marquee tool. The best way to think about this is like having a set of digital stencils. Anytime you need to select a perfect square, a perfect circle, a rectangle, you name it, this is the tool you grab for that clean geometric precision. But what if the shape you need to select isn't a perfect square or circle? Well, that's where the lasso tool comes in. It's basically the exact opposite of the marquee's rigid shapes. This thing is like a pair of digital scissors. It lets you draw a selection completely freehand, tracing any custom shape you can possibly think of. So, you see the difference, right? It's all about contrast. You grab the marquee for geometric precision, say selecting a window on a building, but you grab the lasso for total creative freedom, like cutting a person out from a busy background. It really is stencil versus scissors. Okay, now for a tool that honestly feels a little bit like, well, magic. The magic wand. You just click on a single spot in your image and boom, it intelligently selects all the connected pixels that are a similar color. This is absolutely perfect for grabbing, say, an entire blue sky or a green screen with literally just one click. And finally for this section, we have the crop tool. Now, this might seem basic, but it is one of the most powerful tools for composition. It lets you just trim away all those distracting things from the edges of your photo, completely changing its dimensions and, more importantly, drawing the viewer's eye exactly where you want it to go. All right, let's keep this tour moving. So, we've learned how to isolate parts of an image. Now we get to the really fun part, the tools you use to fix things, improve them, and even create brand new stuff from scratch. This is where you'll really start to see how these tools work together. Welcome to the artist brushes and the digital repair kit. So in this part of the workshop, we're going to get hands-on with the healing brush, the clone stamp, the classic brush tool, and the blur tool. Okay, the healing brush. This thing is absolutely incredible for photo retouching. Just think of it as a smart digital concealer. You take a sample from a clean area of skin, for example, and then you can just paint right over a blemish. What's amazing is that the tool intelligently blends the texture, the color, and the light to make that little imperfection just disappear seamlessly. Next up is the clone stamp, which is kind of like a pixel photocopier. It does something similar to the healing brush, but here's the key difference. It's less intelligent. It makes an exact copy of pixels from one area to another. This is fantastic for things like duplicating a pattern or removing a much larger unwanted object by just painting over it with a different part of the image. Ah, the classic brush tool. I mean, this is the cornerstone of all digital art, right? It does exactly what you'd think. It lets you paint strokes of color onto your canvas. But with just endless settings for size, hardness, shape, you name it, it's the #1 tool for digital painters and illustrators. And then there's the blur tool. As you guess, it does just what its name says. It reduces sharpness. But why is that useful? Well, you can use it subtly to soften the background of a portrait, which creates this beautiful sense of depth. Or you can use it to de-emphasize any distracting details that are pulling focus in your composition. Okay, For our final stop on this whirlwind tool tour, we're heading over to the finishing department. This is where we add that vibrant color and that clear, communicative text to bring our creations to life. And here, we're going to cover 3 more essentials: the type tool, the eyedropper tool, and the gradient tool. So, the type tool. This is your gateway to all things typography. It's super simple. You just click on your canvas and start typing. You can add anything from a huge, powerful headline on a poster to a tiny, subtle watermark on one of your photos. Now, the eyedropper. What's so cool about this tool is how simple and powerful it is. It lets you click on any pixel in your image and basically suck up its exact color. That color then becomes your active color, ready to go for your brush or your gradient tool. It's the secret weapon for making sure your design is perfectly color coordinated. And speaking of gradients, the gradient tool itself creates these beautiful, smooth transitions between different colors. Think about a classic sunset effect, or a subtle lighting vignette around the edges of a photo, or even just modern, colorful backgrounds for graphics and text. It's a really key tool for adding that extra layer of polish and professionalism. Okay, so we've toured the whole workshop. We've gone from selection to creation to color. We've looked at a bunch of different tools, and each one has its own specific job. But that's not where the story ends, not at all. In fact, this is where it really begins. Because the real magic of Photoshop, it isn't in any single tool. It's in the symphony you create when you use them together. For example, use the lasso to select a person, then you grab the healing brush to get rid of a distracting wire behind them, and then you use the gradient tool to drop in a brand new dramatic sky. That combination, that's where true creativity is unlocked. And that right there illustrates the entire point of our tour today. That interface that looked so intimidating at the start, it's not a barrier. It's a palette of pure possibility. And believe me, we've only just scratched the surface of what's inside. So the final, most important point is actually a question that I want to leave with you. Now that you know the tools, what are you going to create?